5 minutes of fame. Most of you should be familiar with the concept. It is a 5-minute presentation that should give all of us an insight what you're doing to engage your students in the classroom. I get to that in just a moment. I think I just want to make a connection between why we do the 5 minutes of fame. It's working now? Good. A connection. Oh, I'm going away. Maybe I'm in the wrong path. Try it from over here. Okay. The reason why we're doing 5 minutes of fame is because entrepreneurs, for instance, don't grow on trees. And the expectation for UTT to produce students who are creative and entrepreneurial, problem solvers, critical thinkers, all that does not happen if you're not instill these very values and train and teach students and give them the tools when you teach them in the classroom from the very beginning as they enter the higher education institution, as they enter UTT. And so what we keep on hearing is that Trinidad is to be a knowledge society and that we're going to be producing all these sharp minds. But we cannot start at a master's degree, tell people all of a sudden, be creative now, come up with some incredible, ingenious research. No. This is happening much earlier. It should be happening, of course, before tertiary education. But at least we have control over what we can do here at UTT. And so the 5 minutes of fame is really very much connected to what are we doing in terms of strategies to get our students from the very beginning engaged. Now, I know, and most of you are here who are presenters know, it takes a lot of time to change the way you teach. And it takes a lot of effort. And often enough, the preparation now is almost like 80% or 70% of the time is put into preparing what later on, when you go in the classroom, should just unfold. That doesn't mean you can't have excellent lectures, but by and large, we have to be very strategic what we do in the classroom. And all the little exercises, and you will see some of them today, including maybe a sneak preview of a learning management system that we're thinking of adopting here at UTT, because it's so much more open to student input. All these little strategies, they will downstream all be put together, and this is how our students at one point will realize that, yes, I can solve problems, and yes, I know how to deal with a particular situation because I've been given the kind of the cognitive tools and the freedom to think and actually explore. So it's not anymore that the subject matter expert, the instructor, is just giving all the directions and the students just hop and follow. We don't want to do that anymore, and I hope that you're going to be seeing some of these examples today. Okay, just to contextualize. Now, Betty, maybe I can pass it over to you. One more thing, there's 2 contributors coming in for video conferencing, which make everything a little bit more complicated. They come at the bottom end of the presentations, and oops, gotta stay away from my mic, yes. And we will start out with the library, I believe.
Yes. I was about to say that you should not be overly concerned that there are not as many people as you had anticipated. That's because we are streaming live and many persons are at various campuses. So whoever you are out there at the various campuses, we welcome you to 5 minutes of fame, an opportunity for instructors to showcase what they do in the classroom, and also an opportunity for students to understand what it is the instructors actually do to make their teaching and the learning experience worthwhile. With no further ado, we call on Mr. Selwyn Rudolfo from the library. Please give him a hand of applause. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. Today I make a brief presentation titled Online and Off-Campus Access to Library Resources. So UTT libraries provide access to resources both on campus and off campus. Through our One Search feature, you are able to search both print and e-resources through the library's collection. You are also able, through this feature, you're also able to create personal folders where you can save the information that you search, the details of your searches, and even the articles. Through the same feature, One Search, you can create email alerts to access hot-off-the-press articles as they are produced, and you can share your search results through social media, through Twitter, Facebook, through your email, okay, and you can share this stuff, all your research reports. The print catalog is available from your home, through the library's website. Here you can also create a personal profile and also save your search results, come back to them at a later date. Here you see a list of searches that were done and indicates the availability, that is, be they in the library or if they are out on loan. Through the print catalog, you can also get information as regards where the material is located, which particular library. With the point research at Umera, advancing. You can also see the cover, what the cover looks like of your searches, the cover titles. And you see a number of searches here that were in the area of entrepreneurship. So we try to provide easy access, friendly use access to library material online and off campus. And we invite you, academic staff and others, to make greater use of the resources as you pursue your research and your class preparation. We invite you to liaise with your librarians to identify resources, both print and online, which can help support your teaching and your research activity. So the UTT libraries see themselves as existing and in the virtual world. So UTT libraries serving the teaching, the learning, and the research objectives of the university. Thank you very much.
I hope you all take advantage of the fact that our library is becoming more and more a virtual library, and that a lot of the offerings of the library are actually available online, various catalogs, and I understand is being added too. Also, just to update you that UTT and UWI and the University of the Southern Caribbean are working on a feature to, we may have mentioned it last year, but it's coming about now, a feature where students from each other's libraries can access across libraries. So it's called a federated authentication. And when you've seen a message or have heard the rumors that we are engaging with Microsoft at the moment to establish email addresses for all UTT students, then that's in concert with UWI and actually the ministry, and that email address, that kind of homogenized email address for all UTT students will then be recognized when they're searching across the various library catalogs. So this is all we're making. Okay, on to our next presenter, Sarita Limanio, sorry for that. She is an instructor in maritime studies, and I have to say I have no idea what she will be presenting, so you'll be surprised. Sarita, you'll be able to pull up your presentation there?
I think you could do wrong now. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm from the Charlotte campus. Most of you might know it as the Center for Maritime Studies, right? What I do there is teach environmental studies, and it ranges from, well, it's an emphasis on marine environments, marine biology, as well as like meteorology and environmental management. There's a range of things. Today I wanted to show you all some of the teaching methods I use. I usually do field labs, indoor labs, interactive lectures. I use something called KWL, and I also teach with Google It. I just figured out sitting down that everything is actually interactive. So the overarching umbrella is actually interactive lectures. So field labs, I'll start off with, they basically structured outdoor scientific investigations. I'd carry my students out in the field, basically give them a realistic sense of what it is they're learning in the classroom. When they're out in the field, they do sampling. The two to the bottom are actually a Brickfield mud flats. That's where we went last night, and we did some observation on bird species. Basically, they observe, they track processes, let's say coastal zone processes. They do all these things out in the field, and they apply what they learn in the classroom, and they retain a lot more. And basically, in this environmental field, they can get bored sometimes. I also do indoor labs because I can't take them out. So the picture to the bottom is not actually my picture, but it's a demonstration of an oil spill that I simulated in one of the instrument rooms up at the Maritime campus. And basically, you just use simple instruments, tables, charts, let them fill it out, and you get them to think on their own, right, and do some problem solving, right? So you can practice indoor labs as well. Also, the interactive lectures, I usually have like a teaching block, like about 4.5 hours for one day. So instead of getting them bored, I'd have tables where they can fill out. I'd let them get into groups or individual work where they could, this is one example of a marine organism note-taking, where I'd assign them an organism and they'd have to find all the information about it. It also captures and maintains the students' attention. It intellectually engages and involves students to also participate with other students as well as individually get to know their own capacity for learning. Also, the interactive lectures could include PBL exercises, which is problem-based learning, the worksheets, KWL, which I'll explain just now, videos and podcasts. So the KWL now is know, want to know, and what to learn. So it activates the students what they know already, what they come into the university knowing, and you kind of get out of them what they want to know more, and if it's a particular topic, it's really useful, and then you either show them a video, podcast, let them listen to a podcast, or they go off and they learn about the topic, and they basically write down what they learned. So they have this table where it is they keep track of their learning. It also stimulates their learning as well. And the last one is teaching with Google Earth, where it is a really, really useful tool for all my classes. I don't know if you can see on the left side of the screen, there are lots of layers, and I turn on the ocean layers, and basically where you see the dead fish, it's dead zones. That is one aspect of a layer, and the dive sites, and you have little info boxes that can come up. You can also use, save these things from Google Earth into your own assignment. You can also use MapMaker Interactive, and again, there are many, many layers that you can add on to the map and add them to your project. So I usually teach my students about this first thing up so they can use them within their project. And you can also go on ArcGIS online and create your own account, have your own cloud, and also create your own maps and have your own layers. So that's basically it for interactive lectures.
Thank you so much, Sarita. We now call on Lynette Tyson-Noel, and she hails from the Center for Education Programs. She is coming along with two colleagues, and we hear what they've got to say. Should we give them a hand of applause, please?
There's going to be some sound involved in this one, so let me just find it.
Okay, so it's innovative ways of teaching writing, from numbers to writing in a flash.
But I need to find it first. You can see it.
Good afternoon to our live and online audience. My team, LTN's Writers Team, comprises Cynthia Celestine, narrator, Laura Dean, student, and me, Lynette Noel, instructor. Our presentation is From Numbers to Writing in a Flash. It is in the form of a reader's theatre.
Friday, 12 October 2012, BK 210, Corinth Campus.
What do numbers and writing have in common? My writer's ink will show you the link in the next 5 minutes. Sit back and enjoy. We are going to play the numbers game.
Numbers, miss? Is lottery? When you drawing?
No lottery, but let's begin. You will see just now. Close your eyes and think of 5 numbers from 4 to 30. Take out your paper or computer. Write each number in a separate line.
The students did so, and the lecturer and the instructor also. One student chose 14, 17, 18, 20, 21.
Each number represents your age, significant milestones in your life.
My age, miss? What are we going to do with that?
Relax, you'll see. Write a sentence or phrase to signify each number you chose.
This sounded interesting. Let me try to remember.
Also, remember it is an individual exercise, so don't check your partner's work.
The students wrote their events, and these became the headings for the writings.
Now that you have the headings, spend the next 15 minutes expanding them. Write a paragraph for each heading.
So that's what the numbers were for. I like this. After 15 minutes, students were invited to share their writing. Suppose my writing is personal.
Well, it's a personal type of writing called memoir. You can share if you wish, or only what you want to share.
Miss, I'll go first. This is part of what I wrote.
The excerpt is age 40, the death of my father.
So we wait for the excerpt, which is going to be read by the student, and it will be shown there for you. Thank you so much, Professor. Oh, the excerpt is coming. Just wait. We're almost there. And my student is anxious to read. All right, so you go ahead. Let's hear from you.
At age 14, my father, superhero, left on a trip to Barbados on August 1st, 2002, with his houseboat, leaving me behind for the first time. I was a bit sad and angry with him. However, I got over it. Daddy was to return home on August 14th. However, he returned home on August 10th in a casket. That was the first time I felt such a great loss. I was hurt and felt as though a part of me was now missing. My daddy was gone forever. He would never return. I would no longer see his face or hear his voice say, "Always remember, Crystal, in everything you do it good or don't do it at all." Although I won't hear him say those words in person, I do hear it in my head from time to time. JP 2012.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll take some more up here. All right. That was a truly interactive presentation. I wonder, are you going to do this in the class? Are you doing this in the classroom?
I did that for Daddy,
Okay.
and I'll continue to do it. Yes, it was something I was done. Yes.
So while we are setting up our next presenter, and I'm kind of surprised nobody goes over time. We seem to be all very disciplined. I wonder if in the classroom it's the same thing. Are you, if you're always on time? I was hoping to hear the gong at one point. But in any case, our next presenter is Daryl Mohan. I'm just looking, please come up. I'm just looking for your presentation. Do I hear somewhere? Here it is. Right. Good. Here you go. And there's a pointer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My presentation is entitled Innovative Techniques in Setting Final Exam. My name is Daryl Mohan. I have been teaching CCIT and UTP since the beginning. Examination is an output of our teaching techniques. So hence, if you want to have an innovative examination, you have to have innovative teaching techniques, because you're only allowed to examine your students based on your teaching at classroom. Technology has changed our ways of life. Everything except teaching in the classroom. Our examination is still based on memory. We teach and we expect them to know words, and we expect them to write back words. Yet still, the environment around us is changing. We have to try our best to make sure that our teaching technique is relevant to our current world, or to help them to prepare for the future, which is unknown to us. We must also make sure our examination must appeal to students. For example, children are no longer interested in reading or going to the library to read, but you could find them on the internet, and they can surf and they can read through the internet. So hence, your examination should not be asking you questions to remember, but really to associate in what you have learned. So So we want to make sure that our questions are really useful to the generation that we are teaching currently. We also would like to make sure when you are setting an examination that your students are not outsmarting you. Since technology is changing and our students are ahead with technology, you might find yourself a little bit backwards. So they can fool you and therefore they can outsmart your exams. It's very easy to do. You just go and surf for the exam, surf on the internet for final exam the solution. There you go, you learn it, and sometimes you get the very same questions that your instructor has set for you. So they can easily fool us. So here are some techniques that I use at TTIT, not at UTT, since UTT is involved in standardization. It hardly gives us room as instructors to be creative or to instill thinking or be innovative. So in TTIT, where I alone was teaching a course, I allowed my students to set final exams. How can you do this? You can be innovative. You allow them to set questions, and I promise to use one. So they are setting. That helps us to see what they are learning and what they think is important. So I encourage my students to set final exam questions. I also encourage my students then to explain what they learn. So they will be able to give it in a project or a presentation. That way I'll see what was core and important to them. I also encourage them to do it by illustration or by teaching. So I ask them to take questions or read examples and explain what we have done in the classroom using your example or teaching a student. All of these are allocated marks. That's how my final exam was based on. Right? So right now at UTT, I am trying to encourage people who are setting exams that they must have and make sure their exams are based on some sort of approach. You must have in every course an objectives and what you would like to have, teaching techniques, what you would like to extract out. Make sure that your exams have marks that are very logical. You should tell us what the mark stands for. They should know, you should know. They must be fully aware. You must be able to ensure that you test one objective once and only once. Because you can't be unfair, there are so many others that you can test. You must try to use different techniques in testing your students in final exam. Always say discuss what is. It's a very unfair and biased approach in final exam. Last, you must be able to use real-life questions and allow the student marks to transfer those information. These are the techniques that I am currently using at UTT, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's quite provocative what you said, and I've just wondered how many of you have allowed your students to set the exam questions. Did anybody? I mean, yeah. And so tell me, in terms of, is your experience the same as Sarah's?
A few years back, I did do an exercise where I was students to write the final exam questions. I did not use any of the final exam, but their thinking at the point in time was very pedestrian. So what I did, I took some of the questions and remodified it and included it into the final exam. So the questions that they wrote, I did not use the original format, but I just modified it. Needless to say, I have not used the technique since a few years back to now, but it did good for that semester.
I mean, it's of course this is a good segue into a presentation that comes now, and I know a little bit more about it because Laura Dean Villapana, or is it Villapana Dean? Villapana Dean, right? Is working with the Learning Center, but she also is an instructor in education. And we are currently experimenting around with platforms for students that are a little bit more open, so students can, to some extent, become more contributing and more themselves producer of their own learning and their own learning environment. It's not probably not as radical as letting them set the exam questions. I mean, I'm just taking that out of context, of course. But it is a step towards
having students much more engaged and much more participating in their own learning experience. Please take it away, Laura.
My esteemed colleagues, both live and online, we have all used learning management systems at some point or the other. We have muddled around with Moodle, scraped off sticks of chalk on blackboard, and felt a desire to learn more. They were our toys that we proudly used to capture the imaginations of our students and to post our impressive PowerPoint presentations. Today, I am proud to share with you a new toy that the Learning Center has been discovering and using extensively over the past few weeks. We've been using it to teach Spanish at the Valsain and Corinth campuses. It is a learning management system called Canvas. Can you say that with me? Canvas. Alas, I only have 5 miserly minutes to show you all of the wonderful types of candy that Canvas has to offer. So I decided to focus on a couple of the most exciting features, and let me tell you, deciding on those features was extremely difficult. To make the choice easy on myself, I thought about what it is that all teachers want to make our teaching and learning easier for ourselves and our students. How many of us can say with enthusiasm that we absolutely love grading our many in-course assessments? Nobody? Thought so. May I please make your day and tell you that Canvas can grade your quizzes for you and show your students where they went wrong and allow you and the students to comment on the quiz via text and video without you batting an eye? Yep, this candy is that good. Want to see how? So let me escape from this and show you what Canvas really looks like. So this is our actual course on Canvas that we have up. So when you've actually created your own course on Canvas, you see to the left of the screen a nice array of options for you to play with.
Just make the screen a little bit.
That does not take away from my 5 minutes.
Time once again.
Thumbs up on here. Yeah. So when you've actually created your course on Canvas, you see to the left of the screen a nice array of options for you to play around with. If you click quizzes, and then you go to the right again, now this is magnifier, so it's really not supposed to take so long to navigate. And you go to the right, and you click create a new quiz. Okay, so there we see options for us to create this new quiz where you will put your instructions inside of this little box here. And then you click new question. And here, my friends, is where you hear the voices of the angels singing sweetly in your ear. There is a drop-down list. This is right here, from which you can actually choose the type of assessment that you want. So you choose the type of assessment, be it multiple choice, fill in the blank, multiple answers, matching, formula question, text, and you publish your quiz. And you can speak like a baby knowing that your quizzes will be graded for you. But a word of caution, Canvas cannot grade long essay questions, but it does present them in a nice program called Speed Grader, which certainly lives up to its noble name and cuts the time you spend with your writing pen and the student's paper in front of you. So, may I please tell you also that you can be as creative as you like with your assignments, because Canvas allows your students to submit from the mundane Word documents to exciting stuff like videos, slideshows, audio, and even web pages. Of course, you are still able to post as many course outlines and PowerPoint presentations to your heart's content. That's a given. How about web conferences with your students? Web conferences, anybody need to see a specific student? Or does the student need to see you? You can schedule appointments with each other with Canvas's appointment system. Talking about about communication, you can also connect remotely with class members by using Facebook, text messages, your trusty email, okay? And you're sure that your students are using Facebook. It's a medium that they use regularly. What I like about Canvas is that it keeps students on track. They're reminded about quizzes and presentations via email that Canvas does you the favor of sending. And feedback thus far from Canvas from the students. That is only to the time the professor took away from me.
I was already a compliment. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the presentation. And I hope you saw, to some extent, that is really it could be a tool that is actually helpful. It actually will diminish the kind of work you'll be doing. And importantly, the students really like it. And we're running a pilot with it. About 300 students using it in 3 different courses, and they seem to like it. This is the first term, first semester we did it, and so we'll report out on that. And I should say in context too, we are doing this because we're moving over Blackboard. Blackboard just became too expensive, and we will presumably phase out Blackboard, but all content from Blackboard migrates into Canvas. So really, in some way, it's just like environment in a vehicle that is a bit more luxurious, possibly. It can be fixed in any garage. It's open source. So the next person to come up here would be Bisram. One that just go over here. And you get your mic up. And we'll continue. So we have 2 more face-to-face interactions, and then we're bringing in 2 contributors from Val Sane, one and the other one from John Donaldson. Let me just pull up. So this one is a chemistry instructor, local to Pandisa.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. How are you feeling? That was good? You're good. Yes, I'm glad because you could all relate to food. Is it? Yes. You could relate to food? Yes. Good. I'm glad. You all do pancakes? Pancakes. Yes. I can do the pancakes. Let's see.
Right, so
Right, that doesn't take away from my 5 minutes. Right, so good afternoon, everybody. Right, so on my committee as well as the present here today. My name is Bisram Ramda, and I am an instructor 1 with the Center for Energy and Energy Studies right here at the Point Research campus. Now, traditionally, I teach the courses in petroleum engineering, the diploma, but in this first semester, I am usually teaching chemistry and mathematics to technicians. And one of the topics that we have, right, within chemistry is the mole. And if any one of us have done science before, from the time you say that word mole, student faces crunch up. It's like, gosh, do I really have to do that? Have you ever do I have anybody in the audience who have done chemistry before and when you hear moles, they like automatically cringe? Oh wow, that's good. So, what is the mole? And pretty much, are we talking about a mole cricket? Or one of those ginger moles? Or am I talking about chemists doing it with moles? You know, I just trying to incorporate a little bit of humor into my class. So pretty much this slide tells us what is the mole, right? And it's a pretty much knowledge and recall. So it defines what the mole is, and it's just a unit of measurement, much in the same way like I say, you know, 60 seconds in a minute, right? And 60 minutes in an hour. That expresses the amount of chemical substance. The scientific definition is shown there in blue. It is defined as an amount of substance that contains as many elementary entities as there are in 12 grams of a carbon-12 atom. And we have said that that corresponds to a value of 6.023 by 10 power 23 elementary entities of a substance. So in other words, 12 is equal to 6.023 by 10 power 23. And this is innovative learning. Right? Innovative learning for me is I said, how it is am I going to relate this stuff to the students that they can retain the information? Right? So I came up with this little schematic. Yes, I did it. Right? And I tried to incorporate a little bit of relatability to the students. So I'm telling the students, okay, assume that we are in Mole City, right? And we would like to go to Atom Avenue. What do we do? Right? Well, it's a very easy solution. Take the arrow, you multiply by that number. It will give you the number of atoms. Right? Likewise, if you're in Atom Avenue and you want to go into moles, follow the arrow and do the application just to divide. Right? So, using that idea, right, I can apply the same conversion to go to, if I want to go to Granville, not Granville, Granville, meaning I want to convert from moles into grams, which is a unit of weight. I can follow and multiply by something called the RMM, right, which is the relative molecular mass. And likewise, from Granville back into moles, I can divide. And of course, molar volume value. In the interest of time, I need to go on because I have a measly 5 minutes, right? So, quantities and chemical reactions. And yes, 1 minute left. Let's see how well we can do this. So let's say we have a recipe, right? We have 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder giving you 7 pancakes. If I said you have 3 cups of flour, how much pancakes do you get? 21, right? A simple ratio. And in that same manner, you can apply that to a chemistry context where you have a balanced reaction, right? And pretty quickly, if you have 3 moles of hydrogen, right, combining with 1 mole of nitrogen to give you 2 moles of ammonia. That's the reaction, right? If 3 giving me 2, if I have 6 moles of hydrogen, how much moles of ammonia can I get? If 3 giving me 2, then 6 will give me 4, a simple ratio, right? And this is the idea where I use food to relate to the students, and of course, my main innovative idea, which was this tool here, to help with the students' ability to convert. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful. Absolutely. You know, oftentimes I try teaching the mole to many students, and I think this is really an innovative concept. To think that you can go along certain avenues to move from one point to another, really, congratulations. Our next presenter is Dr. Francis Davis, and he hails from the Center for Education Programs. He is going to talk to us this evening about entrepreneurs who can teach agriculture. And what better area than agriculture in our present society? So let's give Dr. Davis a hand of applause, a round of applause. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this afternoon, I'm going to spend a couple minutes talking to you all entrepreneurs who could teach agriculture science. The Agriculture Department of UTT is preparing students who can teach agriculture from the primary system in a seamless system in the primary education, tech ed, CBQ, CXC, and CAPE levels. Why do we want to teach agriculture at these levels? Because in Trinidad and Tobago, the average age of farmers is 60 years old. And something must be done to bring that average down if we want to continue in agriculture. CXC's chief examiners in the past 2 years has shown that there's no coordination between theory and practice in agriculture, and also the economic concepts are hard to understand. And thirdly, UTT's mission is to prepare entrepreneurs. So how do we get these entrepreneurs who can teach agriculture? From the first semester, we introduce them to business of agriculture and they prepare business plans. And these business plans are used in the other 3 years. The first year, they introduce the broilers, and these broilers, they hold chicks, week-old chicks. They take the weights of the broilers, they learn the food conversion efficiency and so on, and they prepare a barbecue. Sell the barbecue, so you tell what is the profit, what profit you can make from those chicks. In crop production, what we do with them in crop production, we plant the crop and they even go outside with commercial farmers and learn how to plant on a commercial scale. They take care of the crops. They also do prepare air-laying plants that they sell at an open day. And they harvest these crops and prepare value-added products. So they start from preparing land to value-added products. And different types of value-added products, both crop and livestock value-added products. And finally, for the final year, they have a thematic approach to 3 courses. So there are no written exams. They have a thematic approach to 3 courses: neotropical animals, urban and peri-urban farming, and teaching methods. Neotropical animals, here we have the white agouti. Then vertical farming, that's urban and peri-urban farming, the new farming system. And landscape, they do a landscape project. So that they have to integrate these projects. And here the landscape project, you see the students dig the hole, prepare a pond, fill the pond with water, prepare plants, plant ornamental plants, and end up with a butterfly garden with a tilapia pond in the center of it. Yes, tilapia in the pond. This is all about the students do. And what they, the final product, see, sorry, I had a better one, but you know, you teach have some. Okay. Yeah, so you see these projects are used for thematic teaching, and when the students go, they can teach all subjects around the pond. You can teach biology, you can teach chemistry, you can teach art around the pond. So with that, we end up with entrepreneurs who can teach agriculture. Here they are. Thank you.
Mr. William Meadows and Mr. Ricardo Hospitalis, please stand. Because these 2 gentlemen right here work along with Dr. Davis, and let's give them a hearty round of applause. Thank you very much.
Just one word again. I entered Cape will not start until the next year. We just finalized the Cape syllabus and understanding.
Now, you would have noticed that innovation and entrepreneurship operate across disciplines. We've looked at the library, we've looked at chemistry, we've looked at education, agriculture, maritime studies, you name it, we have it. And there are many, many more. So we introduce you to Mr. Dionanan Habuka. And he is from the Center for Education Programs.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm going to present to you on the teacherpreneur following from Dr. Davis's presentation in agriculture. But this idea of entrepreneurship is not so common in education. And the challenge we face in education is that of incorporating this concept of entrepreneurship, education and entrepreneurship. I teach, among other things, primary mathematics. And when we think about primary mathematics and how do we incorporate entrepreneurship in the mathematics, we also think about empowering the students, because a lot of students, pre-service students who graduate, they wait on the ministry for a job, and we are saying that is creating a disability. We want to empower them so that when they graduate, they will have a whole toolkit of ideas that they could use so that they could create their own employment. It also be thinking about motivating our students in mathematics and to broaden this concept of teacher education and who is a teacher, and incorporating this idea of entrepreneurship. I share with you a product here that my students produced last year, and this is a product that they developed, Trinbagonian Math Stories, where they wrote stories with a local flavor, building a local culture, and incorporating in those stories the idea of ethno-mathematics, where we marry both the culture and the mathematics. These are some of the stories that they wrote using the local context. Long time days, family reunion, hunting season, pigeon peas, and all of these incorporate ideas of number operations. Now these students are in the final stage of their product where they are going to market this. So what they're doing now is field testing it in schools where they have selected sample stories. This is actually hot off the press. This is this morning. This is this year's students' project on entrepreneurship. So it's not just a host of things where they think outside of the box and outside of the classroom, where they're thinking about needs that fellow colleagues have across the country, so that and how they could think about developing products to meet those needs. This here is a project captured this morning where these students wrote stories and poems in mathematics, and they're all thinking about selling their products, and that's the important thing. Here, when they write these things, they have to think about how to advertise it, so that they develop commercials, advertisement, brochures, and so on to advertise their product. The idea of teacher and entrepreneur is one where we see that there is a lot of commonality. Things like creativity, pioneering spirit, innovation, risk-taking, they're all common to the teacher and the entrepreneur. Teachers write reflections, and this is what they say. We need to consider the fact that what our students need may not be available. And this is where our entrepreneurial skills come in. Or if teachers begin thinking about curriculum and lesson plans, like entrepreneurs think about business plans, it will enhance the students' experience and improve their educational experience in the classroom. And this idea of teacher and entrepreneurship is not, if you look at this here, the European Commission, they have commissioned a whole project on the idea of teacher and entrepreneur, and this is available online. It's a big document, a big piece of research, where we're talking about entrepreneurship education, enabling teachers as a critical success factor. So we are on track with the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your reflections on what we should be doing as instructors. So now we're trying, if you thought it was difficult technically difficult to set this all up, we're trying to bring in a couple of people on video calls now. And hopefully we still have the internet connection here. Let me just try. It says we are connected. Hopefully we are. Actually, I'm going to disconnect and then connect again. And then we're going to get into video conferencing. Okay, Andrea is in. Andrea, can you hear us? Andrea, can you hear us? Let me see. No. He's probably calling right now to see what's going on, right? Yeah. At the moment.
Okay, let me try now. Hi, good afternoon. Hi. Hi, okay. But I'm not hearing you as well. Okay. Right, and now I cannot see you if I'm looking at the thing itself, right? So should I start? Yes? Okay, so I'm going to start. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm talking about video conferencing in the ICT classrooms and the tools that I use to help with the video conferencing. So before I could actually talk about tools, I just want to make sure we understand what I mean by video conferencing. And video conferencing is where we could share a session or a class in our case with two or more participants, meaning two or more groups. So for instance, I have a class now with some here in John D and some in Point Lucas. We use the computer networks and of course the camera right now on my laptop to do the video conference. In the class setup, which will be a little later, there's another camera that will focus on the students so that the students in Point Lucas can see me as well as the other students in the class here with me. So this is an example here of Professor Stout teaching one of our ICT courses, and she is using video conferencing. So I'm going to break this picture here a little more so you can see the difference. So she has students in Point Lucas as well as students in Omira on a Monday afternoon. And what she is using is a tablet. So she's able to write freehand with this tablet here. So let me show you an example. So this is the tablet. And if you look at the camera in front of me, this is the tablet here. Now the advantage of using a tablet is that we could make notes on the slide itself. So I could come here, and I could write anywhere on the slide. Whatever I have to write, so I could point to things on the slide, I could write, let's see if I had to write a formula. I could do anything that I would usually do with a whiteboard and a chair. So that the camera doesn't have to move from me to the board to complete the communication. This is wireless, and the advantage of the wireless, now I could use it with the code, but the advantage of it being wireless is that I could walk around the classroom and point to things on the slide without having to stand in front of the laptop to conduct the course. Video conferencing is very convenient to those students who have to come from South to John or from South to Mira. So being able to do video conferencing, they're able to stay where they are and avoid traffic. However, there are some things that need to be put in place in terms of the change in approach. So the staff has to be comfortable. Because some staff still used to the whiteboard, so it feels a little strange. The students not also going to be supervised because now we have the one-on-one over the computer. So some mature students could handle the video conferencing, but the younger ones tend to be a little distracted. It's new for ITS as well in terms of supporting the different campuses with video conferencing at the same time. So that has some issues as well. So that is the video conferencing. I just want to mention two other things. Well, we also do things like short courses in ICT. So we have courses like design principles, smart card technology. So they wouldn't be the free credit courses. But these courses are designed to make sure that students are aware of the emerging things in the industry. We had someone come in the animation festival this weekend and did something on the touch interfaces. We also have things like company visits so that students could interact directly with industry and ask questions, because when they hear from us, they might think there's a little bias there. But this way, where they go to the professionals and ask them themselves, they understand that certain things like attitude, not just, let's say, marks, they make a difference in getting a job. So that's in terms of the innovations in ICT. I just want to remind you all that the IDS competition is open and the deadline has been extended to February 15th. And if you want to get more information, you could ask one of your innovation and entrepreneurship faculty champions in your campus. The Global Entrepreneurship Week is next week, so you will see some activities happening there as well. Thank you. Okay, good. Right. Okay, thanks. Oh.
She's also using a tablet, and that the whole thing of her presentation was that she's going to get that she actually walks with the tablet and she writes on the tablet while whatever she writes on the tablet is displayed on the screen, but then also displayed remotely to the people she teaches in, let's say, John Robinson, or to down here. In fact, she has passed it on today from John Robinson down there.
So our last presenter now is Jacqueline Morris, who is coming in by video conferencing too, because she was in a class till 4 o'clock up in Valsein, and I hope we can capture. Does it work? Yeah, this works again. Now let's see if we can get her into the room. So are we calling into the Omera seminar room? Okay, there's Jacqueline.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes,
hey,
I can.
Sometimes it works, right? Sometimes just the devil is in the detail. So glad to have you with us, Jacqueline. And we are, I guess, once you're ready, we're looking forward to your presentation. Tell us when you're ready to go. Jacqueline is an instructor in education.
Give me 2 seconds. Okay, I'm ready. So, we're talking about the flipped classroom. What the flipped classroom is where one takes the lecture out of the classroom and puts it at home and takes the homework and brings it into the classroom. And one of the reasons that that's good is that students can be, this is a little weird, I'm hearing a lot of echo. Is that, y'all hearing echo or is it just me?
That's the classroom there, sorry. There's a bit of a problem in the classroom. But we try to turn off all the mics here.
Okay. All right, so back to my picture. Right, so what happens is that this student goes home and goes through the material, looks at videos and that sort of thing, and then they come into the class and we go through almost like a tutorial session, so that the value of the face-to-face is higher than when we're just explaining to them. And what happens after that is that I decided to do that with my education technology class last summer semester. So what we did was I created modules, individual learning modules in Blackboard, and I had them do that. And then when we came into the class, we did quizzes and discussions and the hands-on activities. So generally, the classroom, they talk about watching live. There's a lot of video involved, but I didn't want to use video, besides the fact that it takes a lot of time for me to record all of it, and it's a lot of time to upload. So I just made modules in Blackboard with step-ins for them to do. And the flipped classroom's been around for not that very long. It started in 2007, and what I found as we started doing it in the class is that the students are far more interested in the work. Confusion has gone down because when they go through the process at home, they make their notes on what's difficult and what's confusing, and then we go through and discuss that in the class in an individualized way. And that is pretty much what I've been doing.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments, anything?
I realize everybody is so afraid to be gonged off that now the presentations get shorter and shorter. That was like a short...
That was 2.5 minutes. It's just really, I mean, I could talk about movies, but...
I am very happy that in the first place, somebody talks about the flipped classroom, that very concept of giving students a whole lot of material ahead. And often enough, it's not reading. It could be all kinds of media, and again, it's up to you how you engage the students there. And then when they come to the classroom, you actually talk about questions they may have. So it's really, I mean, the idea seems to me a lot of sense. The challenge will be getting the students to prepare for the discussions in the classroom. And this is where, if I can just jump in here, if you get them challenges that they like to do, and I tell you, if you ask students to produce, or a number of students to produce a little video on a problem, to work in a team, to solve a problem, they will engage. And if you then tell them, upload that into, let's say, Blackboard, bring that in the classroom, and then we will discuss what the problems are that you had, what other students would have to contribute. They have skin in the game. They will react to that. And you just have to experiment around with it. but it will work if you let the students become the producers, so to speak, within the scope of the subject matter area that you're supposed to teach. And so obviously Jacqueline is playing around with that, and she can do that in education, of course. That's the place to do it, but we need to extend that to, well, all the other disciplines as well. So this brings us to the end of our event here. I'm glad that you stayed and were curious enough to see what we have to offer here at UTT. For all the presenters, there are some beautiful cups in the back here, so everybody that presented should get a cup. It has an engravement of 5 minutes of fame. For everybody else, in addition, of course, there is lots of food to be taken, and please don't let it sit here. I should also say now thanks to, first of all, I have to say thanks to the staff of TLC, in particular Diana Richards, who pulls everything together. Thanks, Diana. Then I want to say thanks to the IT support group here at Point Lisas that really worked. We were pushing them hard and to get all their resources together, and so that was really a beautiful thing. And of course, I'm happy that we could come to Point Lisas, because we were told we are hanging out at Omera too often. We're not going to other campuses. So I also understood that we had people online that hopefully were following us. I know there were a few transmission problems at one point. So whoever was doing work and every once in a while looking at their browser and checking what we were doing, sorry you couldn't partake in all the good food and all the good entertainment otherwise, but thanks for participating, thanks for logging in.